Hi, guys, and welcome to the Pilosopo Podcast. My name is Jigga Jr., and today we are here live at the residence of Ernest Herrera. Thank you so much for this feast that you prepared for us here today, Ernest.
Thank you also, Jigs, for the opportunity, and it's always a welcome for you here.
Of course, let me introduce Ernest to our viewers, just in case you don't know Ernest Herrera. He was the former mayor of Calape, Bohol for how many years was that?
6 years.
6 years. He's also the son of a former senator, the late Ernesto Boy Herrera. And he also chairs the dangerous
Citizens Drug
Watch Foundation, which started back in
1990.
1990, and in fact it was set up by the late senator, right? Your father.
Yes.
Okay. First and foremost, Ernest, today is March 30, 2019. We are getting dangerously close to the elections, right? That is the date in which we are doing this interview, in case you were viewing this one on a later date. First and foremost, what gets you up every single morning, Ernest? What inspires you to do what you do every single day when you get up in the morning, or whatever time you get up out of bed? What inspires you to do what you do and do what you have been doing for the past so many years?
Well, before the campaign, before this campaign, I always get up early in the morning, Jigs, and I do my walking and jogging, and I know that very well. Whether it's inside the village or at Sem Park.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my daily routine.
Okay.
And then.
But what inspires you to do the things that you have been doing all these years?
Family and life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always see to it that health is wealth.
Okay.
You know, and we're not getting older.
Okay.
Younger.
Okay.
Sorry. I see to it that 3 or 4 times a week I do the walking and jogging.
Okay.
And then, of course, do what my daily routine. Go to the bank. Okay. Preparing for the day-to-day activities. Of course, it's a business.
Okay.
So waking up in the morning is not really it's not really hard for me, and it's not a problem with me. But ever since I wake up in the morning early, and then I'm always on the go. Sometimes Vanessa will ask me, "Why always 9 o'clock? You leave 9 o'clock?" Because for me, after 9, it's late already.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. So even before, even I was still a mayor, even though the municipal hall is just about 5 minutes by walk.
Okay.
I see to it by 8 o'clock. I'm in the office.
So what inspires you to wake up every single morning? What are your thoughts that are going through your mind when you get out of bed? You know, what inspires you? What moves you to do what you do for the past how many years now?
Well, honestly, Jigs, I always think that every day is another day for me.
Okay.
Maybe there's opportunities.
Okay.
More opportunities for me and maybe the family.
Okay.
So and then I see to it that my kids, I get to kiss my kids in the morning.
Okay.
And then play.
It looks like family inspires you a lot.
Yeah. Of course.
Obviously.
As I've said earlier, the family. And
so who is, or what is your greatest influence? Where is it coming from? Is it from an individual or from an idea? What is your greatest influence?
Well, maybe my dad.
Okay.
So
it's a who. So what about your dad?
Yeah. Maybe I've learned a lot from my dad.
Okay.
In terms of time. Okay. Because before, like for example, if he's invited to a wedding.
Okay.
An hour before, he's already prepared.
Wow. Okay.
In fact.
Well, he was senator.
When he was still senator.
Wow.
And 30 minutes he's already at the church grounds. He doesn't want to be late.
Okay.
And I think I've inherited that.
Okay.
So whenever there are meetings for what's it, scheduled.
Okay.
So I'll see to it that I'll be on time or right
Okay.
just before the time of the scheduled meeting. So maybe that's the no. And even my mom was still in the working mode before. She doesn't want to be late also. So maybe my parents.
Tell me about how it was to be the son of Senator Ernesto Herrera. Tell me about that. How was that? How old were you at that time, and what was going on through your mind and all that stuff?
Well, I was so young then.
Okay.
The first term was very young.
Okay. How old were you then?
1986. I'm 10 years old. 10 years old.
Okay, it's alright. It's alright, Ernest. You can divulge your age with these clues.
No, I'm
so.
proud.
So what was going on through your mind at that time when you're 10 years old, the son of a senator?
Well, it was hard at first. You have to balance. You really can't go out that much.
Okay.
You know.
Were you living here in Cebu, in Bohol, or in Manila?
No, in Cebu.
Okay.
You know, when my dad won his first term, we were just in a small apartment.
Okay.
And you have to climb 20 steps.
Okay.
Daily.
Okay. And he was a person with disability, right?
Yeah, he got polio at the age of 3.
Okay.
In Bohol, in Calape.
Okay.
That's the biggest reason also why I became a mayor also.
Okay. How hard was that to climb 20 steps when you were living here in Cebu in his first term?
Oh, well, I think he's used to it already.
Okay.
Because before became a senator, you know, we've been there.
Okay.
I was born in that part of the city, down Hakosalam, near, it's in Barangay Dayas.
Okay, okay.
So, it's practically hard, but maybe that's where I got also the blood.
Okay.
I mean the attitude in relation to public service.
Okay.
I inherited that because before I entered politics, parang I've been with my dad. If he's in Cebu, I always go with him.
Okay.
So I'm the one, all the siblings exposed in public service then. And in fact, in politics, I'm the only one in the family.
Tell us about the rise of Ernesto Herrera. I mean, it's unheard of that a person with disability, in this case with polio, he was in a wheelchair, right, for practically his entire life, right?
No, not in a wheelchair. Crutches.
In crutches, right?
In fact.
So tell us about the rise of Ernesto Herrera. Where did he come from? His humble beginnings, and all that, and then until he became senator of the Republic of the Philippines. Tell us about the story of Ernesto Herrera.
My dad was born in Sambuan.
Okay.
South of Cebu.
In Cebu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southern part of Cebu, September 11.
Okay. September 11.
Yep. 1942.
Okay.
And then because my lolo was a soldier.
Okay.
That's why.
Of World War I. Yeah. Yes, of course. Because I was just having this conversation with my mom and my dad a few lunches ago, and we were talking about World War II and how they were hiding in the boondocks of, I think, Pinamongahan or Barili or something. I think it was in Pinamongahan while we were having dinuguan. So let's talk about World War I a little bit here this morning.
That's
Go
why
ahead.
my lolo was by the Japanese, so he went to Bohol.
Okay.
Then,
that's why.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
And then of course they stayed. In Calape.
Okay.
Then before there was no diba? No polio.
Mm-hmm.
So
no polio vaccine, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Polio vaccine. He got sick.
Okay.
Then of course got the polio, and the old the thinking that by dipping the half of the body of the person, practically you can walk. So 1 year.
Okay.
Almost 1 year, his half of his body.
Dipping it where?
In the soil.
Wow.
So
okay.
In the island of Pangangan. Pangangan.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really hard.
Okay.
You know, the sacrifice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He walked. In fact, early age, he's not using anything.
Okay.
He just can walk.
Okay.
He studied at Zapatera, Cebu.
Mm-hmm.
Then
so he came back to Cebu.
Yeah.
From hiding in Calape to back in Cebu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then,
What was his first political position or elected position or appointed position in government?
as a senator.
Oh, really?
He was a labor leader
Okay,
before.
okay.
He's very active in the labor sector.
Okay.
That is why he got known because of he was part of the Agrava fact-finding board.
Oh, okay, okay.
The one investigating the assassination of Benigno.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I think that's the jump start there.
Mm-hmm.
From that stint, he was asked to. He was offered a lot of positions, and he declined it.
Okay.
Until that, the president, President Cory then, told him that, sorry boy, you can't say no this time.
Okay.
So he said yes to the offer of running senator.
Okay.
And then he said yes, but we didn't know yet. So when he came back to Cebu, he said, I'm running.
Mm-hmm.
So we were really shocked, unprepared, very unprepared.
Because it was his first time to try to get an elected post, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What year was this, if you don't mind?
87,
87.
88, somewhere
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And then, it's really funny, but you know how people and friends gathered, got quick already kanang plan.
Mm-hmm.
Before we used the sack of rice
Mm-hmm.
and paint it. That's our campaign materials before.
Really? Like.
And then hand paint.
Okay.
Then gao-gao, the usual poster thing.
Okay. Okay.
And we borrow vehicles. Because we don't have vehicles before.
Uh huh.
And we're lucky enough we have friends.
Okay.
A lot.
So we're talking about a national campaign here from Apari to Hulo, right?
Yeah.
And your dad is in crutches, or sometimes in wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It's really hard, Jigs.
Were you in the campaign trail with your dad? Or?
I was very active in 1992. His
Okay.
second term.
Okay.
I was practically the whole 90%
Okay.
of the campaign.
Okay.
I was with him or in the parallel side because before, under Lakas Laban, they had two groups.
Okay.
The principal,
Okay.
the candidates, and then they grouped the daughters, the kids.
Okay. Okay.
So that's where I was very active.
Okay.
And we had really tight schedules then also. And what's good was there was really party mandate before,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was really support.
Mm-hmm.
Practically within siguro 90% was taken care of by the party.
Okay.
So
The so-called political machinery, right?
political machinery under that was Mitra Fernandez.
Yeah. Okay.
And then against
Another local guy, a local boy, Marcelo Fernan, right?
Marcelo Fernan, and against FBR.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my start of I was exposed then.
Okay. Okay. What were your first thoughts when you got exposed to politics? Did you tell yourself, "Oh, I want to do this," or "I don't like this"? What were your initial thoughts when you first got exposed to politics?
Well, I like the sense of helping.
Okay.
Reaching out to people, especially that I've seen my dad helping people.
Okay.
So by that, parang it absorbed me, and
So that was your initial reaction.
Initial reaction,
You sort of like, "Hey, I could do this."
I can do this.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you obviously are a son of Ernesto Herrera, and I'm sure, like you mentioned earlier, you were influenced greatly by him. What do you think, or what do you want the Herrera brand of politics? What do you think is that going to be, or is it already? Because you obviously are not new to politics. You were a mayor of Calape for 6 years, and now you're relatively new to Cebu politics because this is your first time to aspire for political elected office. But you're not obviously new to politics. So what is the Herrera brand of politics?
Well, as an executive or as a politician, just like my dad, I see to it that whenever there are people ask for help, I immediately act on it.
Okay.
Even before, even my dad.
Okay.
So that simple act, I would want to bring that here.
Okay.
You know, I don't want people to wait.
Okay.
If it's yes, it's yes. If it's a no, it's a no.
Okay.
You know, you don't have to.
But there's so much red tape in government.
Exactly.
So your yes might be a yes, but you know, then he goes to the process, and then it'll take him a long time again.
That's why. So we need to focus and you know, help the guy.
Okay.
These people. So my principal jigs, no. If you say no today and you say no a week after,
okay,
what's the difference?
Okay.
It's still the same no. So why not say no today?
Okay. Okay.
If you can't really help that person, why should you pretend to help and you can't help? So what I'm saying is I want to act right away.
Okay.
And then this time it's different because I'm 6 years as an executive.
Okay.
So I order. You know,
Okay.
I can do anything. Meaning to say, I'm the one ordering. My staff. You know. This time I legislate.
Okay.
Laws or ordinances.
So you're comparing it to when you were mayor? Is
Mayor.
that what you're saying? When you were an executive,
Yeah.
now you're a legislator.
Yeah.
So
I'm
okay.
aspiring seat in the council.
Okay.
So, but it's not really hard because my background as the son of Senator Herrera is not really hard because I've been there in the Senate, been observing, and in fact I was about 10, 11 years with Senator Zubiri.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
6 years in Manila full time.
Okay.
So it's really not hard.
Tell us about what you were doing for Senator Miguel Zubiri, who had a chance to meet a few times here when he was campaigning here in Cebu. What a kind gentleman.
I became his political officer for Cebu and climb up until for the whole Region 7. And then there was a time, 2013, that I became the political head.
Okay.
Head national.
Okay, in Cebu.
No,
for
national.
For national, okay.
At that time, 2013 campaign.
Okay.
So it's a daily routine for me.
Okay.
Because as I've said, I've been exposed, and most, if not all, the politicians or elected officials in Cebu and even in Bohol are close friends of mine.
Okay.
In fact, my batchmates, some of these politicians are my batchmates during the term, during my term 2001 to 2007. So it's not really hard.
You're also educated here in Cebu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I graduated at the University of
Yep.
San Carlos.
We're a Carolinians, fellow Carolinian.
Proud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while your father was a politician and you were a mayor, and then you when your term ended, you dabbled in entrepreneurship, right? In fact, you can consider yourself an entrepreneur too, right?
Yeah. Politics jigs is a call.
Okay.
Calling.
Okay.
It's about timing.
Okay.
So.
But when you're not a politician, you're an entrepreneur as well,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So if you had to make a choice, Ernest, if you had just to pick one, which one would you rather choose to be a full-time entrepreneur or to be a full-time politician, and why?
That's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, even though now, before I got directly involved in Cebu politics,
Okay.
I do business.
Okay.
But I still do public service.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you have to get elected to be in public service.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is,
So what did
I
you do?
balance things.
What did you do in public service when you were still not aspiring to become a counselor?
Well, I'm active with a lot of organizations, and I do a lot of activities, feeding.
Okay.
You know, it's a yearly event for me. Every time it's my birthday, birthday of my wife.
Okay.
Christmas, I do feeding. I choose barangays.
Okay.
And feed kids.
Okay.
And then in relation to organizations, I'm the president of Kota Cebu South now.
Okay.
And I'm coming president of Rotary Club of Guadalupe.
Okay.
So public service is always there.
It's here in your DNA.
It's I've been saying that politics is worse than cancer.
Worse than cancer.
Or public service per se.
It's worse than cancer. Why is that? And so
it's get into your blood and into you.
And you meant that in a good way.
Of course, yeah.
Because cancer is not a good thing.
No, what I'm saying is it's really hard.
So,
the public service thing,
once it gets you forever until you die.
Yeah.
So is it safe to say that you would choose politics over entrepreneurship?
No, I balance things.
Okay, but if you had to choose one thing.
Yeah. But because what I'm saying, Jigs, politics is not life.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
You need to have a backup.
Okay.
So whether I win this time or I can't make it this time.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's okay.
Okay.
Because it's not life for me.
Okay.
This is an opportunity.
So politics is just part of you, but not your entire being.
I can live without politics.
Okay.
But public service, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
Right? This is two different things. And then during the Yolanda and the earthquake in Bohol, 5 days after the earthquake, I went to Bohol with my friends.
If public service and being in politics are two different things, why go into politics in the first place? Why don't you just be a entrepreneur? Live your life in a private way and serve the public. Why do you need let's say a position in government, an elected position in government? What's the difference between Private Ernest Herrera and Councilor Ernest Herrera?
Well, I can help more with the resources of the government.
Okay.
As a mayor, I can do a lot. Actually,
Okay.
It's two different things.
Okay.
As a councilor, I can do a lot still, but through legislation and still connect with national agencies, especially with if there are earthquakes and a typhoon. We can reach out and call national agencies and then tap them, and basically that one.
You already have a young family now, right, Ernest?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You recently got married about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I have a question for you because you mentioned that you balance things out and some people that I know of go into politics for the wrong reasons, and some people look at it as a business. My question here is politics profitable? What I'm trying to say here, Ernest, is if you're a full-time politician, no backup, would it sustain a family? Why not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
When you're called upon
to serve? Okay.
It's up to there. Call upon to serve, not to gain profit, in a sense, money.
Okay.
In legislation, as councillor, what are you talking about profit? There's nothing to it when it comes to money making.
Okay.
Because your work is legislation.
Okay.
You don't decide, you don't give up money from government. It's the mayor who decides.
Okay.
So when you talk about corruption, I don't think so.
Okay.
It's hard, and especially it's different now.
Okay.
The way the president handles things now. I like it, and a lot of people love him now.
Okay.
In a sense that the way he managed our country is locally. He managed locally, just like as a mayor, but in a national scale. So my point is, you have nothing to gain in relation to money making.
So if you're an aspiring politician watching this podcast on YouTube or on Facebook, and you're thinking of getting into politics to make a living or to create your wealth, they're looking at the wrong, barking at the wrong tree, right?
Yeah.
Politics is not a way to amass wealth.
No,
Because
it's public service.
for a long time, that's always been the perception, you know. If you're a son of a politician, you know, like you drive flashy cars and live in big houses and all that stuff. So that has changed dramatically. And when did that start changing? That perception?
There's some who thinks that way.
Okay.
Jigs, no, and you can't blame them
Okay.
because they think it's life for
Okay.
them. But as there are a lot of public servants, politicians
Okay.
in a sense that they're really into it because of public service. You know, they want to serve. They want to help our government. They want to help, like me. I want to help the city also. You know, and I've seen also that there are a lot of things to be done here in our city. So, you know, the more that I'm pushed to campaign, but definitely not gaining in a sense that money making. You know?
You know, if politics is so hard, and it's not financially rewarding, isn't it a good idea to try to reward elected politicians or even appointed politicians financially, so that they won't have to think about feeding their family and making a living and all that stuff? Don't you think politicians are underpaid? So why don't you pay them a huge amounts of money so that they won't think about corruption?
Well, that's what I like now
Okay.
with our president,
Okay.
especially in the police organization.
Okay.
He increased, a lot.
Okay.
of the
How
salary.
about councillors and mayors,
Yeah.
barangay captains?
I think he did it.
Okay.
In a sense, like the president's salary. I think he just increased recently
To how much?
through. I'm not quite sure the amount now, but
But how about the city councillor and the mayor? How much?
it depends on the what's this, the kind of city, because
That's
they're
Cebu
different.
City.
Oh,
Would you know how much a mayor, how much Tomas Osmeña makes every
a month?
month?
Honestly, I don't.
How about the councillors?
The councillor, if I'm not mistaken, about 50, 60?
50. Okay.
Somewhere there.
Still not a lot, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
If you have a family,
Okay.
even for two kids,
Yeah. That's not enough.
of course
Yeah,
not enough.
Yeah.
Don't rely on it.
So-
You should,
so-
you should work harder.
Okay.
As I've said, you do business also.
Okay. So isn't that going to conflict your time for, let's say, public service and your family? Like
time?
you obviously have a connections already in government. It's, assuming you're already an elected official and you have a business, is that going to conflict anything
I don't think so.
of interest? I mean,
Depends on what kind of business are you into it.
Okay.
Are you in?
Okay.
But as I've said, Jigs, if you have good intentions,
Okay.
you don't think the bad things, and then if you're into politics, you always think that it's really for public service and nothing more, nothing less.
okay. Trying to campaign for a position like Cebu City Councilor is takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of money, right? Is it worth it? How much does it take to become Cebu City Councilor? How much do you think is the average spend for a city councilor, somebody running for city councilor? And is it worth the time and the effort and the money to get elected?
Well, I invest my time
Okay.
in this campaign now.
Okay.
I see to it that I'm always there whenever they're scheduled.
Okay.
The house to house handshake in the morning. From the start, even last year,
Okay.
I'm in attendance.
Okay.
Never been absent. So I invest a lot there, expose myself
Okay.
a lot.
So is
Rather
it worth
than
it?
spending.
So is it worth it?
Well, for me, yes, because as I've said, I'm into it. I mean, I love politics. I love public service in general, and this time, our local leaders have talked to me and then invited me. So maybe there's a thing that they've seen to me that that I can help maybe the
Okay,
group and,
okay.
and our city. So it's more or less a privilege na mo naging ako gigs, no? Parang garbo na ko that I've been invited by the group. And then I'm very thankful because I can serve without not really by being elected. You know, but this time they talked to me. So I'm taking advantage in a sense that maybe this is a calling. So ano lang, double time my campaign, reach out as much people I can every day, and then
You know, what one of the biggest problems now facing this country is of course the drug problem, right? In fact, our president is zooming in on that, right? But long before this whole drug war, you're already part of an anti-drug campaign, an anti-drug movement.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience on the drug war front.
Well, back then in the early 90s, Jigs, the problem of drugs is really that big already.
Okay,
you
okay.
know. In fact, it was my dad who first named names
Okay.
in the Senate Hall.
Name names, meaning like so-called drug
Yeah,
lords, right?
drug lords. And then, in fact,
Do you remember the names that were revealed in the Senate floor back then?
well,
Who are these people? Are they the same names that we have now?
No. One is very clear in my mind is the one, last name was Veloso, if I'm, yeah. A Veloso guy. And
Okay.
days after he was killed also. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Only one?
yeah,
the list?
I can remember,
Okay.
but there are politicians and military. There
Okay.
are a lot of military.
Anybody from Cebu?
Back then, I don't think so. I'm not sure anymore.
Okay, okay.
They would be way back 1990. But then again, there's a problem already.
Okay.
Way back then in drugs. That's why my dad created parang an arm to help the government in relation to education.
Okay.
That's why he created Citizens Drug Watch Foundation.
Okay.
And what's good that time because the government really helped support the organization,
Okay.
and we particularly reach out to every province in the country. In fact, we supported and built 21 drug rehabilitation centers before.
Okay.
So and my work then was I was in charge for Visayas and Mindanao, so I go around, talk to people, talk to students, to parents, to family members about what are these drugs,
Okay.
and then what we can help, and then well, unlike now, there's technology, new technology.
What have you learned on those years of sitting on the the Citizens Drug Watch?
Yeah.
What have you learned that you can apply to the drug problem today?
Well, mainly, Jake's education.
Okay.
I still believe that it can solve a lot
Okay.
in our drug problem. Without education, I don't think it can't be solved.
Okay.
If you notice, the primarily target are kids,
Okay.
teenagers. So those teenagers are innocent,
Okay.
innocent, and
Okay.
so maybe my point is you need to educate them, incorporate education, and that is why where I want to come in. In my campaign, in the barangay and sitios, I always emphasize that is my advocacy now.
Okay.
Aside from PWD, that I want to create a concrete program for out-of-school youth, and push for putting up a drug rehabilitation center in Cebu, which we don't have.
Okay.
So it can help lessen the problem of drugs. It can help our parents, our friends, because right now we only have private facilities here. which cost a lot per month. You know very well, an average program for rehab is 6 months.
Okay.
So in a private facility, you spend about 50 to 80,000 per month. So with bringing in a government facility, you know, it can help a lot. You know, we have one in Argao, in a sense, not catering only Cebu City, but the whole region. So it's always full. Even it's a long list before you can get in.
The Dangerous Drug Board and where we are now, are we on the right track when it comes to we kind of completely eliminate this one, but curb the drug problem in this country? Are we on the right track, or you know, based on what you were doing before, is this a continuation, or is this a totally different approach?
Well, we are on the right track in a sense, but this is more direct in a sense, because it's really the president who is on top of it, and which we love. We love how I love it. No, because it's really a head-on attack, and we've seen already a lot of surrenders.
So we're on the right. You think we're on the right track?
For me, yeah. For me, yeah. You have to be strong. Principled in solving this problem. Without the kind of toughness from our president, I don't think we'll reach this far. You know, in fact, honestly, when the president said that time that he can solve 6 months, I was a little bit hesitant about it, because it involves a lot. And true enough, you know, he extended it. Right, and I think unlimited already. There's no really deadline.
Extended the deadline.
Yeah.
You know, drugs like cocaine and heroin, and these other drugs always have a medical history. I mean, the reason why there's heroin and there's cocaine initially was for medical purposes, right? To treat certain conditions, right? And it's just that the population abuses these drugs that were cooked up in a medical laboratory for good reason. So the intention of a drug is always good, and then people just abuse it. In fact, when it's not cocaine and when it's not heroin, if it's not Cebu, they're going to look for something else. You know, because this is a sort of like a psychological, a social problem. People abuse certain things because you know, of certain conditions. Let's say you know, like conflict maybe, or you know, like lack of attention, or maybe a real addiction problem, perhaps, because you know, you can be addicted to practically anything, right? You can be addicted to pornography, you can be addicted to alcohol, you can be addicted to you know, stuff and hoard stuff. You know what I mean? There's always something to be addicted to. And now, with the advent of social media, with the advent of Wi-Fi, with the internet, people are saying that this is the new drug. This is the new addiction, right? People will eventually get addicted to Facebook, for example. I hope you're not yet addicted to Facebook, Ernest. I noticed you're posting a lot. I'm just kidding. But this is not going to end. This addiction thing is not going to end. So, you know, the new drug war will probably be the drug war on Facebook. You know what I mean? So this is a societal, a psychological, a social problem that will never be solved if you attack it the wrong way. What are your thoughts on addiction being a social problem, and we're approaching it the wrong way? But what are your thoughts on that? Because some people are saying, you know, like, this is not the way to do it, because it's not just about the drug lords. You know, it's really about this social problem. Why is it that a person will take drugs and you know, and do all these things? Why is that? Isn't that the more important question, rather than just you know, eliminating all of them? Yeah.
Well, for one, it's a social problem. And there are a lot of reasons why people use drugs.
Or get addicted.
You know, like family problem, parents doesn't have work, the kid...
Or they have too much money.
Actually, yeah. And then the kid wants to go to school, but he can't.
So these are examples that you've actually seen from the ground, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
These are main reasons, and the barkada, curiosity,
Bad influence, right?
bad influence, even as you've mentioned in social media, even using FB is, it's bad.
It is an addiction. In fact, there's actually an office, I think in the States, that rehabilitates people from social media.
Yeah, and then and you've just mentioned earlier also before we started this this conversation, we have even the FB has a very now guidelines, fake news, right?
Yeah.
So people abuse anything, whatever they can, even water, drinking water.
Yeah,
right?
for sure, yeah.
So we have to be guided. That's one, and then we incorporate education. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We incorporate education because without this education, we can go as far as the universe, but still we can't solve anything because we don't have any guidelines.
Okay.
And I'm happy with Facebook. There are guidelines now, and then in relation to drugs, most of these users are, kids. The daily happenings in our city, in Manila, it will go back to our kids, our those 18 between ages 18 to 35. And 80% of the happenings and hold-ups, rapes, will boil down to drugs also. That is why I always emphasize that we need to have education, part of the drug solution. And if you ask me, you asked me earlier if the president has done a lot. Yes, not only attacking the users or the pushers, he also built a lot of rehabilitation centers. Or I forgot which place. I think one in Bukidnon, if I'm not mistaken, and with 5,000 rooms or capacity. You have to balance things. The hardest part.
What are these rooms again for? For what?
Drug rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And facility. It's a facility. And
one of the things that is very discouraging about this drug problem, not just here in the Philippines but worldwide, it's a stigma that you get, right? If you're a drug addict, if you're branded as a drug addict, it'll be very difficult for you to incorporate yourself back to society, right? Because you already have that stigma. You can't get a job, people will look down on you, etc., etc. What are we doing about that?
That is why the most important thing in rehabilitation is the aftercare.
Okay.
That is the most difficult part, which we should be very careful. The time that this person, the victim, will be out in a couple of days, because that is the aftercare part. We should be very careful, and then we should embrace them. That's one. I always emphasize that because it doesn't mean that you use drugs, but I will not recognize you as my friend anymore, or I will not recognize you as my kid anymore. You should embrace that.
You have a business. You're running a business. Would you hire a former drug addict?
Why not? If there's a certificate or something. If
is there a screening process with the current government program that allows you to sort of have some parameters, some guidelines? Whether this person is ready or not to incorporate him or herself back to society. Are businesses aware of that this guy is qualified already? He may be a former drug addict, but he's clean and sober now.
I'm not quite sure, Jig. You're the second person in 3 days asked me that question. Asked me that question. Do we have a guidelines or ordinance or a law in relation to that from a dependent, from a drug addict, then came out from rehab, and then if you are required to, you can, employ this guy, this person.
Because
I'm not quite sure, Jigs, but
there's a sense of hopelessness when you're a drug addict. Like, "Patyan lang na, oy." You know what I mean? But the truth is, addiction, like all drug addiction, like any other addiction, is curable. You can turn things around.
It is. That's why.
And that mentality of "Patyan lang na, oy," is quite sad, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because drug addiction is just like any other addiction. You can go to a medical facility and you can actually get cured from it.
It will boil down to the person.
Yeah.
Even
Correct.
how many times you get in the rehab, if you don't want to help yourself.
That's absolutely correct. But it is curable. Because it's a disease.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've friends, a lot of friends who are users or addicts before, but they're successful businessmen now.
Okay.
So my point is, it's really up to the person.
Okay.
That's one, and it's up to the community also to how you embrace that.
But you can't leave it up to the person and to the community as well. I think we have to leave it to experts. And I think one of the most important parts of this equation that has not been incorporated is the job of a psychologist or a psychiatrist, right?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of these problems, not just with drug addiction, but a lot of these problems with the youth is psychological.
Yeah.
We have never our improvement as a species has gone is dramatic. You know, we've gone from 0 to 100 just like that because of technology, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult for a kid to embrace all these things that through the internet. You know, all these friends that you have. It's sometimes too much for a child growing up, right?
Too much for kids now.
Yeah, so I think a lot of that has to do with the mind and how you deal with the world, and a psychologist, a psychiatrist has to be present in schools, in government offices, in government facilities, you know, and so on and so forth. What do you think of the psychological and psychiatric solution to this drug problem?
Well, I'm pushing for early intervention in a sense that as early as grade school, you should incorporate the drug education.
Okay.
Now, whether there's a negative side or a positive side, for me it's lesser than the negative side. You know, because you've been telling me now, you know, that because of technology, even kids now can relate drugs through the laptops, you know,
through their mobile devices. Yeah.
So,
they're exposed to it already.
Yeah, that's why I'm pushing for an early intervention in a sense that even into barangays, daycare centers, you incorporate drug education, not only because it's Drug Awareness Month on November. It should be a whole year round.
But isn't it better if these so-called drug awareness is administered by experts?
That's part of it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Not only some basic teachers, but it should be a psychologist. You know. So you know, we should hire this psychologist and then incorporate in schools, universities, and even in grade schools.
Okay.
As what I'm saying, even during the campaign, education is very, very important, and as early as in the daycare centers, you should incorporate the drug education.
Okay.
Maybe not the whole thing. You know, you slowly, inform the kids now what is the difference from this kind of drugs. You know, what are these drugs? Okay. You know, so it can help. It can help. So by the time, with the help of the Cebuanes jigs, and I'll get a seat, I will be focusing on that issue, on that current problem now we're facing here in Cebu.
Put a psychologist and psychiatrist there, man. Even in City Hall, I think those guys need psychologists and psychiatrists too, right?
I became assistant chair of COSAP.
Okay.
And,
what's COSAP? What's that?
Cebu City Substance Abuse Prevention.
Okay.
So
did you have psychologists and psychiatrists surrounding you?
No, but we tap.
Okay.
You know, and we even created a home rehab.
Okay.
You know, for the employees.
Okay.
So it's how you approach it, but definitely you have to embrace them.
Okay.
Even the employees. That's what we did during my term for about 2 years and a half.
Okay.
Together with Dr. Outlang. We have a good working relationship with Dr. Alice, and that's what we did. We help a lot of employees, and we reach out to other facilities that can help us also. Private facilities.
Private facilities. Okay. What are your thoughts on legalization being a solution? You know, in many parts of the world, you know, Amsterdam, the United States, some drugs are legalized in the United States. In certain states, some states are already legalizing medical marijuana or even recreational marijuana. Because you can't control something that's illegal, right? So what do you think? What are your thoughts on legalization of certain drugs, like the way they legalized alcohol? There was a time in the history of the world that drinking alcohol was illegal, right? In fact, people were getting killed for. Remember the prohibition? Remember that time? And well, that didn't happen here in the Philippines, but it happened in the United States. But I'm sure
your time maybe.
I'm sure we read about that. There are movies that are being shown, documentaries that are being shown about the time when alcohol was illegal. And in fact, an argument can be made that alcohol is actually more dangerous than certain drugs, right? So what are your thoughts on legalization of drugs as a solution?
For medical?
Just legalization of drugs in general and medical purposes as well. You're talking about specifically marijuana, right?
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on legalization of drugs so the government, the Cebu City government, the national government can control it?
Well, I'm not in favor of it.
Okay.
I'm in favor of what's this? Marijuana.
Medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana, but you have to be very specific on how you approach it.
Okay.
You have to put some guidelines, very strict guidelines. Honestly, Jigs, we have good laws in the Philippines.
Yep. Okay.
It's the implementation side is
Okay.
so hard. So as I've said, I'm not in favor of legalization of in general.
Okay.
But specifically for medical marijuana, why not?
So is that even being considered as a solution by our government? The legalization part? Because Duterte was flip-flopping on his stand for or against legalization of medical marijuana, right? I think for a time he was insinuating that he was in favor of legalizing medical marijuana, and then he flip-flopped and then said no. What happened there? What do you think happened?
I really don't know. For me, there are a lot of countries already using medical marijuana.
Yep. And in fact, even recreational marijuana. There's already a lot of states in the United States. Like California, for example. I think.
California and Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But medical marijuana, why not? But we have to be very strict on it with guidelines.
But isn't it unfair for the marijuana industry, for example, that alcohol is legal and marijuana is not, when in fact alcohol is sometimes more dangerous and we can attribute a lot of deaths and a lot of crimes because of alcohol? Isn't that unfair? Isn't it random to legalize alcohol and not legalize drugs, for example?
Maybe unfair is not the word.
Okay.
Because these are two different things for me. Drugs, for one, in general, not only, well, marijuana is just part of the drugs, right? Of the so many drugs we
cigarettes,
have.
for example, is also
So
bad.
I don't think it's unfair. You know how it brings you out when you abuse it.
Yes. Alcohol, tears families apart. Makes people do crazy stuff, crazy shit, like like rob or rape people and all that stuff. And drunk driving kills a lot of people as well. In fact, I don't have the statistic, but I think alcoholism is probably just way up there together with the drug addiction as a societal problem as well.
That's why I'm saying, Jigs, we incorporate laws.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we are very strict in our laws in like just purchasing alcohol with the age.
Yeah, we're not.
That's what I'm saying. So we incorporate laws. We put laws, and then just like purchasing or buying alcohol, we should be very strict on it.
Okay.
With the age, just like in other countries, And maybe the information drive is very important also. Reminding everyone how this alcohol can attribute to you when you're drunk.
Yeah.
So
it's a good feeling, right? I mean, we're not. You know, we've been
yeah,
drunk
yeah.
several times, man.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I've
of
been.
course.
You know, it's a good feeling to have like a, you know, like a glass of scotch or two or
Yeah.
three, or maybe like a few beers. You know,
True.
with friends. We all like to get a little, you know, high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's the addiction part that's bad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you can take like a few you know, glasses of scotch, for example, and you know, you sleep it off. You get a little hungover, and then you know, wake up and you're fine.
Yeah.
But there are those that have addictive tendencies that get addicted to
True.
alcohol in the same way that you're addicted to drugs. So it is quite similar, to be honest with you.
You know, how do I, you know, explain it? But for me, the alcohol thing and the drugs are two different things
Okay.
for me. You know,
How are they different?
you know, when you intake shabu for
Okay.
one,
Okay.
it gets into your brain.
Okay. Doesn't alcohol
You-
get into your brain?
Not really.
It does to me.
And then you don't sleep,
Okay.
and then you hallucinate.
Okay.
I don't think alcohol.
Well, you know, some people do. I know people who have delusions of grandeur every time they take alcohol, and they get "Waka kailan ako." You know that
Something
joke,
like
right?
that, yeah.
You know what I mean? They have this. You get messed up, man.
Yeah.
Pretty bad when you're
in
drunk.
general, I've said, Jing, anything you abuse, you know, it's bad.
Yeah, correct,
But,
yeah.
the problem here in drugs, especially like shabu and
Okay.
cocaine, it gets into your brain right away.
Okay.
You know, and your actions will really be out of hand.
Okay. Okay.
That's for one.
Okay.
I've seen. Okay, if you drink scotch, one bottle. If you get drunk, I don't think that I hallucinate and think that you're a dog for me.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What I'm saying, these are two different things.
Yeah. When I'm
But-
drunk, I think like I'm 6'10".
And then when you take, this is based on studies and experience. Not me.
Okay.
Experience in a sense that
Okay.
people I talk to, family members, when kids use shabu or whatever drugs they used, that's why they think of killing, because they think that you're not the person that
Okay.
you look up to.
Okay.
You look like a devil or
Mhm.
something like that.
So that's why they killed that person.
That's why they killed
Okay.
the person. Even Lola,
Okay.
Apo,
Okay.
thinks that their
Okay.
Lola was someone else.
Okay.
So, you know, that hallucination thing,
Mhm.
that's one of the...
So the main
things.
difference between drugs
Yeah.
and alcohol.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one
Okay.
of the a lot of things pa. And the thing that it gets into the brain,
Okay.
it damages you
Mhm.
right there and then, but you can feel it right away,
Mhm.
you know? Unlike alcohol, maybe, you know?
But it damages a lot, you know, your liver, even your brain. I guess they get a little damage when you take too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
When you become an alcoholic. I mean,
Yeah. So,
it's quite similar, but maybe not in terms of you know, virulence. But I think the damage done to a brain and your
maybe
body
the violence part.
and the violence part. I think a lot of crimes committed here are also alcohol related, not just drugs. But in fact, I think they sometimes go hand in hand, right?
in hand.
Yeah, somebody who drinks, somebody is probably also prone to taking drugs because, like I said, they have this addictive tendency. You know, their DNA, their genes are prone to addiction. So I think these are quite related. In fact, that's why you see a lot of drugs, you know, in bars, or at least you hear about you know,
incorporated with alcohol, yeah.
drugs and alcohol, right?
Yeah.
You know, the final solution is difficult, right? I mean, like figuring out how to solve this drug problem. In fact, many countries all over the world have tried, but have failed. You know, this whole phrase, the drug war, started 40 years ago when, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ronald Reagan was president, and 40 years after, the United States still is in a deep hole with, I think, the opioid problem that they have.
Even my dad, way back 1990,
Yeah.
he's declared drug war.
Yeah, and you know, we've been trying to wage a drug war on this, and you know, it's never stopped. You know, parts of the world, all over the world, Mexico, you know, Colombia.
It's really hard. You know why? because of the money involved.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Basically, that's the main reason.
Yeah. The demand, right? It's so high
Yeah.
that it is impossible for a entrepreneurial mind not to take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
Money. How is drug money affecting politics here in Cebu City?
It's a billion industry, and it really affects a lot.
In Cebu City. We're not talking about the Philippines, huh? We're just talking about Cebu City.
Yeah.
Do you think some of these politicians receive money from drug lords, whether they know it or not?
I guess so. I think the president doesn't really just simply mention these names or
Okay.
these politicians by
Okay,
not
okay.
reconfirming it from the intelligence sector.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure they do, and I don't, as I've said, the president gets everything. The resources is under him, so it's not just simply telling people that, you know.
So no matter what is happening
Aside
now,
from their politics involved again, you know. But
no matter how he has said time and again that we're gonna destroy you, we're gonna kill you, and all that stuff, you think there's still we still have narco politics in the underbelly of this city
in Cebu,
in Cebu?
I think so. Maybe it's lessened now, but I think so. We have not really solved the drug problem here in Cebu City. In fact, you've noticed it almost every week. 25 kilos, 30 kilos. You know, the drugs came in and out in our city. It's faster. I describe it faster than before, because even though the president mentioned already, his message is very clear. But what is going on? Almost every week there are apprehension. There are drugs being sold.
Okay.
And these are kilos. 20 kilos, 10 kilos. In fact, 2 months ago,
Where does this come from, man? Who makes these things?
China. Sorry to say, it's
I've
China.
heard that story many
Yeah,
times.
in fact,
China.
recently that cocaine thing is China made. So, I don't know. I honestly, it's really a big question to me also. This large scale of drugs just slipped in our customs.
Yeah, I know it's quite confusing, right?
It's confusing. That's why I was
Sometimes,
really
sometimes
very,
people have this perception that we're just being played. Like it's like a whole drama of
aside
Philippine
from-
politics, and everybody knows where it's coming from and all that stuff.
Yeah, aside from cocaine, but shabu now you can make it in a small condominium.
Okay.
So it's not really that hard
Okay.
anymore in relation to shabu. But cocaine, kilos, packed, and being, dropped in the sea. So it's really a drug syndicate, something, scenario.
Okay. Okay. So this whole drug problem, I don't think we can talk about this enough, but we have other things to talk about. So what do you think is what's your final word on solving the drug problem? Let's just isolate it here in Cebu City. What is your final solution?
Well, as I've said, I want to see the existing ordinance now.
Okay.
And then where we can incorporate the drug education,
Okay.
we should, and incorporate it. And then put a government facility in Cebu. And then be strict on implementing our existing laws and ordinance. We have a lot of laws that are good, but implementation-wise is bad.
I hear that a lot, Ernest. I hear that a lot, that we have the right laws, we have the proper laws, we have crafted the perfect law, the perfect constitution, but it's just in the implementation that we are sort of lacking.
It's really us, the person, Just like no parking, no stopping. Simple as that.
Why, since you're trying to get elected in a legislative post, right? You're going to craft laws as a Cebu City Councilor if you do get elected. Why do you think people create laws that are difficult to execute and to implement? Why don't legislators create laws that are easy to implement.
It's not about easy or hard.
Okay.
As what I've said, saying, it's really the person of authority who implements it,
Okay.
like the police, whoever, the CITOM
Okay.
in general in relation to traffic. These are the reasons why also part of the problem, because they're not implementing it,
Okay.
the right way, and then there's still corruption. That's one, and then just like Jigs, just like in seatbelt law,
Okay.
which if you've not informed also that it was my dad who filed that bill, and basically became a law. The seatbelt bill, seatbelt law in Cebu. I don't think so. 95% are not using the seatbelt.
Yeah, because you don't drive that fast in Cebu.
See, that's the reason.
You drive like 1 kilometer per hour, especially in Cebu City.
Okay.
Why would you?
This is funny, huh? Even though now, in relation to vehicles, there's a alarm if you're not using the seatbelt, right?
What's
but
that?
still, persons or people will have a solution for it. Buy a gadget to just close that, to stop the alarm.
I didn't know that there was a gadget. Maybe I should get one of those.
Diba?
But my point is, traffic is so bad in Cebu. You don't need a friggin' a seatbelt, right? Which brings us to another problem.
Okay.
Let's just go there since we're already talking about it. The traffic in Cebu is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. It's unbelievable. I think everybody, including you, when you will become a counselor, Ernest, you will become a part-time counselor, full-time driver, or a passenger if you have a driver. I'm sure the city will give you one. It's like your full-time job as a driver, because traffic is so bad now. You might as well make money off of it and do Grab or whatever, or maybe be a jeepney driver instead.
Yeah.
So, what do you think can be done? Okay, something concrete that can be done to solve this traffic behemoth of a problem that we are experiencing here in Cebu City.
Well, there's only one for me now, going up. Put MRT, implement the MRT, LRT thing.
Okay.
Let's set aside politics.
Okay.
You know how politics are now in Cebu. The more feasible solution now is LRT, MRT.
Okay.
Going up because we don't have a concrete plan, urban, planning for Cebu.
Okay.
So we don't have also road expansion.
Okay.
Okay. So it is very timing to put up MRT, LRT.
Okay.
Even me, I will just park my car here and use the MRT. Can you imagine from Cebu City going to Karkar takes you about 15 minutes?
Explain to everybody what the MRT is. You said Cebu to Karkar. So if I want to go to somewhere in the middle of Cebu and Karkar, can I get off the train?
Oh yeah, definitely. There are stations.
Did you say MRT?
MRT, LRT. Either of the two.
Well, what does that mean? What does M and what does L mean? What does that mean? Metro rail transport? What does that mean?
Something like light rail.
Like a train, right?
Yeah, like a train.
Okay.
Yeah, just like in Manila.
Isn't that like a long-term solution? How many years does it take to build one?
Oh.
And can we afford it as a city?
No, there are investors already.
Okay.
In fact, there are investors, and we are not going to pay anything.
Okay. How long is this project?
Big difference is in relation to BRT. BRT is a loan.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
In MRT, LRT, it's a PPP. There's an investment. There's an investor.
So how long is the solution? How many years from now?
2-3 years? No, if it's really approved, and about 2-3 years maybe.
So you can already have that done.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Set aside politics. Let's do this for the city. You know, a lot of friends of mine in Manila would always ask, Nes, you're inviting me in Cebu. How's the traffic? You know?
I know, right?
Yeah, can you imagine even us, Bandal Road, coming from the Maria Luisa Road going to Country Mall?
Yeah.
How many minutes does it take?
45 minutes.
Right? So, for now, Cebu City needs an MRT, LRT transportation. Even goes to Mactan, incorporated. Cebu City going to Carmen, that side, north, and the other side is Karkar.
what happened to the crafters, the builders, previous your predecessors, the previous leaders of this great beautiful city of ours? Didn't they foresee this? I mean, like if you run a city, you envision how it's going to be, right? Didn't they see the potential problems that it may or may have? Yeah.
What they think of that time maybe was the solution for that day.
Okay.
Not solution for the next 10, 20 years.
Okay.
We have to do it now.
Okay.
The solution for the 50 years, coming 50 years. And I think by MRT, LRT transportation is the solution.
Why didn't we build bigger roads, for example?
There's no planning.
That's why. That's what I was thinking about. Why didn't they plan for this?
I'm not sure with those. Sorry, the officials before. But,
Yeah.
Short term. The only.
Yeah, but I think you can't blame politicians for thinking short term because their term is only, let's say, 4 or 6 years, right? And if they build or create projects that will not benefit their term, then it's going to be difficult for them to win. You know what I mean? Like if you spend for money that
if that's how you think.
But that's how they think.
That's why. But you should think not because it will end or get you elected again. You should think about the people. Because they're the ones who elected you.
In the first place, right?
In the first place, right? You think about the city. So my point is, short term now for Cebu traffic is not in any way in the scale. You should think about the long-term solution. And then I think with that kind of solution, it will lessen the traffic. Even me, as I've said, why should I take my car going to Calape by Chichar when I can use the MRT, IRT 20 minutes, coming back 20 minutes, less than an hour?
One of the things that I observed is that the Philippines is a third world nation. Cebu City, of course, is part of that, and we're a third world nation, and we have a growing middle class, right? Thanks to the industries like the BPOs, the call centers, and all that stuff. We have a growing middle class, and if you're a third world country that has a growing middle class, one of the first things that they aspire to have is a car. So people are excited to get cars, right? So everybody's just buying cars, and these car dealers are helping, of course, by giving them like zero cash out or like a very small down payment.
1 peso down payment.
Yeah, and a few thousand pesos down payment and all that stuff. So it's increasingly impossible for a middle class person not to get tempted to buy a car, not knowing that he has become part of the problem, right? So I think it's a mindset as well, of the people of the city. We can actually, probably change that as well. Like maybe tell them to buy a bike instead, for example, like a bicycle, for example, instead of buying a car, or just have one car, or maybe like, just share a car, or maybe use the current public transport, like maybe take a Grab or maybe take a public utility jeepney and all that stuff. It's also a mindset, right?
Mindset, yeah.
And people like to drive their own car because they take pride in having their own vehicle, right?
True.
Because they never had that when they were young. How about that solution? What are your thoughts on just changing the mindsets of the Cebuano and tell them, hey, you don't have to drive a car, your own car. You can, take a bicycle, for example, or take Grab, for example. What are your thoughts on that? The mindset solution.
Yeah, it's a nice one, but we have to solve first the traffic.
Okay.
That's one.
No, but it will solve the traffic.
But my point is, like, it's not only the traffic in a sense, but the traffic rules.
Okay.
The implementation side. You know how it is. Even motorcycles, you get accidents every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah, that's why we need to implement laws. Strict implementation is, I think, the most important.
But how do you intend to do that, Ernest? How do you implement laws?
Well, that's why we should sit down with the stakeholders, you know, traffic enforcers, you know, not only because you're in Sitom because you're one of the supporters of one politician, you know.
Well, that's
my point.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, but my point is, take advantage of it. You know, you work, and then you do your thing. You work because you get paid by the taxpayers. Then you implement it. You know, simple as that. And then that kind of mind setting, Jigs, it's a nice thing. It's very simple to think, but it's really hard for now.
What do you mean? What mindset?
You know, mindset solution.
Okay.
You're saying.
Okay.
Because Cebuanos in general, kanang in a sense na kanang naanad ng butag easy way.
Yeah, of course. That's not just Cebuano. That's a human condition.
Yeah, human condition. No?
We really like to do the easier way. In fact, instead of making a U-turn a few meters after the flyover to go to wherever you want to go, you want to make a left. Okay,
so
because it's just, you know, I'm used to this and it's more comfortable. It's easier.
It's easier,
right? Although you're inconveniencing hundreds of motorists just by making that small left turn going to wherever you want to go, instead of making a U-turn, which is just a few meters away. Okay, we really like to do the easy way. In fact, I'm also guilty of that sometimes.
Same here actually.
So
the mindset thing, I don't know, it's hard.
It's a double line. I'm talking about the Banilad area, right? It's a double line. It's clearly no left turn, right?
Yeah.
You can't make a left turn. Why is that not being implemented? And that's a very clear example. The whole stretch of the Banilad Road, okay, from Ayala to all the way to Country Mall, and even after that, it's a double line, right? That says no left. A double line, you know, a solid double line means you can't make a left the other side, right? The other lane.
Then we go back to the traffic rules and
Okay.
implementation.
Okay.
Implementation side. That's why I'm saying we should sit down with the stakeholders. You know, in fairness of some, I'll be honest. There are some Sitoms are really very strict on it with it.
You know, let's go to Sitom because I'm really curious about this. I don't understand why there's not enough traffic enforcers in the streets of Cebu. I mean, like if you just enforce laws, enforce fines, you know, there will be enough to pay for hundreds, if not thousands, of traffic enforcers, right?
Yeah.
Why isn't there enough traffic enforcers in the city of Cebu? Why do we have to have volunteers? I mean, like, what I'm trying to say is, if you just enforce the laws, there are fines. You know, if they catch me using a cell phone while driving, I can get 5,000 pesos fine or whatever the amount is. You know, there's enough money to be had if you just enough people to implement.
Setting priorities, Jigs. Priorities.
Okay.
Maybe the priority of this government now is maybe CCMC.
Okay.
But it's not also because it's not finished yet.
Okay.
My point is you have to balance your priorities. For example, setting your mind setting that you have to complete CCMC. It has been there, not finished. You have the budget and everything, and worst of it all, 3 years back you're thinking of selling it.
Okay.
You know, this is the only city where the 4th largest city in the Philippines who doesn't have a clear government hospital. We don't even have a city college.
Okay.
But Mandawi has, Lapu-Lapu, Talisay, and we're in the middle.
Okay.
And just what I said, it's balanced priorities.
Okay.
You know, unlike, sorry to say this, but Vice Mayor Labella now, as early as now, has planned to, as soon as he sits as a mayor, priority is the CCMC. Finish it in less than a year.
When you say CCMC, please enlighten us. What does that?
Cebu City Medical Center.
Okay, okay.
It has been there. The construction, the money is there. I don't know why.
But isn't that the job of a leader? Let's say in this case a mayor, to orchestrate and prioritize everything. If you know what I mean, like you can't be just a one-trick pony and focus on one thing, right? You've got to. I know this is an oxymoron, but you've got to focus on everything. You have to delegate the right people to the job, and focus on everything, because you can't focus on one thing, because running a city, let alone a country, requires that all of the cylinders are clicking efficiently, right? Are functioning well. So what do you mean when you say priorities, when in fact a leader should prioritize everything?
For me, a leader should not decide on his own only.
Okay.
That's what I said. You delegate. Because you cannot do it your own.
On your own, yeah.
On your own. Just like CCMC. If you prioritize finishing in CCMC, it should have been done years. I mean, last year pa siguro. Because as I've said, the money is there, and people are flocking Vicente Soto.
Okay.
Which is
so that solution. Why do you think it's being delayed?
It's politics again.
Okay, politics. What is the main difference? Let's go there. Politics. What is the main difference between the Osmeña de los Santos camp and the Labella Rama camp? What are the key differences between these two parties, these two main parties of Cebu City? So when you vote for Tom, what do you think their principles and their priorities are? And if you vote Labella Rama, what are your priorities?
Well, for one, the biggest
difference
is that it's a consultative party or group.
Which
under
one?
Labella.
Okay.
Under Labella administration.
Okay.
Before we decide, we talk to stakeholders.
Okay. Before
we decide in relation to PWs, we call upon them, not only right away decide.
Okay.
And then implement things. We embrace business sector.
Okay.
We don't fight business sector. We encourage them to invest in city.
For sure, yeah.
In city, yeah. Unlike the government now, if you've seen it, and you've heard about.
So you're more of a consultative party compared to this other party headed by Osmeña. So what are you trying to suggest? What kind of party are they?
Oh.
If you're consultative, meaning to say you listen to everybody, they are what?
Well, maybe they don't listen.
Okay.
They decide on what they think what is good for them.
Okay.
But in the large scale, it's not.
Okay.
You know, every problem has a solution.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and it's always for me the solution is you sit down.
Okay.
And talk.
Okay.
You just don't decide right there and then. And that entails already differences.
Okay.
And entails this misunderstanding.
Okay.
You know, point is we sit down, call on the stakeholders. Just like there's a problem in a sense like the transportation for BPOs.
Okay.
The immediate reaction and solution is provide transportation.
Okay.
But primarily, it's not the work for the government.
Okay.
Right? It's primarily the work for the government is to sit down and to talk to the stakeholders.
Okay.
Meaning to say, we talk to the employers, employees, and then talk again to employers. Oh, what can you suggest? What can we have in order to solve this problem at hand? You know very well that there are about 150,000 BPOs now working in Cebu, not only in Cebu City but Metro Cebu. Okay. So for me, very nice to say that government will provide free transportation, but what is the guidelines? where and what should we do? How we should coordinate with the employers, right?
The thing with consultative versus, let's say, for this purpose, dictatorial,
Okay.
is it takes a long time to consult people. If you have to listen to everybody, it's going to take a long time to get something done, right? And if you just decide, what you think is best for the city, then it's quicker. It's faster. Don't you think that if you consult too much, if you listen to everybody, the solution will be prolonged?
I don't think so, Jigs. If you sit down and talk to stakeholders, doesn't mean you talk to for a year.
Okay.
3 meetings. I don't think it's that long.
Okay.
You need to have inputs. Maybe your input is not enough. Rather than talking to everyone, right? Maybe your solution is not enough. That's why I'm saying short-term solution is not enough. We should have a long-term solution.
So if Tommy Osmeña is not consultative while the Lobelia team is consultative, what else are the other differences between parties? Because sometimes it's difficult to choose, especially in Philippine politics. It's difficult to choose. It's just like personality politics, right? You only vote for people and that's it. Unlike in some parts of the world, when if this is a conservative party, this is a liberal party, this is pro-abortion, this is anti-abortion, this is pro-gun, and all that stuff. In Cebu, it's difficult to choose which is which. So how can I? What are the what's the DNA of the Barug party, and what's the DNA of the Osmeña party?
Yeah. Well, one under the Rama administration before, Mayor Rama cemented the mountain barangays.
Okay.
Whether you are part of Team Rama before or not, it's because you are the mayor of everyone. So he implemented. And if you've been to the mountain barangays, it's all cemented.
So what's the difference?
On the other, sorry to say, but
you don't apologize, man. Just say it.
It's politics. Every time they decide, it's always politics.
Okay.
They always ask, barangay captain is that ours or not? If not ours, why should we, help them?
Okay.
In fact, now, in a week, the mayor just pulled out 2 government
ambulance vehicles.
Vehicles.
Okay.
From Barangay Kabindokot, which the captain is running for city council. Now, 2 days, 3 days after, the bus of Barangay Budlaan, if I'm not mistaken, was being pulled out again. For what? If you do that to a barangay captain, Jigs, you're not hurting the barangay captains only, but you're hurting the basic services of the barangay, the people there.
Okay.
So, in the biggest for me, this is what I did also during my time as a mayor.
Okay.
I do not go after sa akong mga political enemies.
Okay.
In fact, I embrace them. I help them.
Okay.
And I think it's better that way, and because you're not helping the barangay captain only, but you're helping the people.
Okay.
In general, it's not the person, but it's the people in the barangay, So, I think that's the biggest difference. We embrace, and we help, not choosing anyone. That's the direction of Vice Mayor incoming Mayor Edgar Lobelia.
So they will be as apolitical as possible. They will not be divisive when they will be sitting there as a mayor or a vice mayor or in your case councilor, right?
Yeah. What is good for the city is we would deliver.
It's good for everyone.
Everyone.
We've obviously mentioned a lot of problems in the city, like traffic and political division and the Cebu City Medical Center and all that stuff. But Tell me about what excites you about Cebu City. What are the good things that is going for this beautiful and beloved city of ours?
Oh, there are a lot of investors. There are a lot of investments that can be seen.
Okay.
Coming. A lot of people I talk to that wants to have a business in Cebu, but are waiting after the election. And then a lot of changes I want. We need to for me personally, Jigs, no. Murag ganahan ko na I can contribute also. For one, Jigs, in the PWD sector, they're receiving 7,000 per annum financial assistance. So I'm affected with that. Why? Because my dad is a PWD. My daughter is a PW. My second daughter is a PWD. She's a Down syndrome.
Okay.
So I'm more touched. I'm more very close to my heart the sector of PWD. So I would want that when I sit down in the council, I will increase the financial assistance. Then put up the persons with disability office, which we don't have, and then emphasize that the person who will work in that office should be not an ordinary person being pushed by a politician, but should be a member of the sector, so she or he can deliver the benefits and the programs for the sector. Now in relation to senior citizen, they were promised increase of financial assistance way back 2016, but up to now there are no movements. So as early as now, Partido Barug PDP already is part of the program for the city is to increase the financial assistance for the senior citizen. Now, in relation to education, Mayor Labella or Vice Mayor Labella, incoming mayor, is planning to set aside. We have 170,000 students, grade 1 to grade 6 in public school. So, Partido Barug PDP is planning to set aside 1,000 pesos each student every year.
Every year, okay.
To help them buy school supplies and uniforms.
Okay. So you have all these solutions to our problems, right? You, Ernest, like most of our brothers and sisters who will be listening or watching this podcast, we're very well traveled. We go around the world. We go to cities around the world, and we always, when we come back home, we always try to compare, right? Where do you think, in your estimation, based on where you've been and where your friends have been, where do you think Cebu City now? What is our place in the world?
Oh. Less the transportation problem.
Traffic problem?
Traffic problem. I can compare Cebu, Singapore, and Hong Kong.
Okay.
It's a small city, but everything's there already.
Okay.
And I can say that here in Cebu, it's a very good city to stay. We just need the traffic solution, the mass traffic transportation solution, and in fact, we're heading to that direction. And just like Hong Kong or Singapore, na daghang kay mo transfer in Cebu to invest. So we have to be very also siguro Jigs, business friendly.
Okay.
For one, to create more jobs, create more jobs, and happy place to stay in Cebu, just like Hong Kong.
I like that when you said happy, because I think one of the greatest misconceptions in the world is that it's always about bigger, better, faster, wealthier, more money, bigger, taller buildings, wider roads, and all that stuff. That's how we define our progress, right? We have all these build. But isn't progress also about living a, like you mentioned, a happy life? Isn't it also about sustainability? Isn't it also about being
Comfortability.
we ang kanang mga tao mura og kaning satisfied as lang kinabuhi, malipay ra sa diri, like I don't have to have a flashy car, I can breathe fresh air. Why isn't that not being incorporated in our idea of progress? I mean, like, it's not just about building taller buildings and bigger, a transportation infrastructure, right? It's also about breathing fresh air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you think our legislators, our lawmakers, people in government are also thinking about a happier life for its people?
I think so.
And how is it being manifested?
Well, in relation to Cebu, I want to see Cebu just like Singapore and Hong Kong.
Okay.
Everything's there, like a small Makati.
Okay.
Where we can live, not expensive, and just that's Cebu now.
Okay.
And I want to maintain that.
Okay.
And help also in relation to investors.
Okay.
Create more jobs. Where people, where we can see streets with no people sleeping.
Okay.
Like out of school youth, we also create a concrete program for them.
Okay.
Tap TESDA for the training program, and then help find work. By inviting investors, we create work.
Okay.
We create jobs. Meaning to say, we should be very friendly to everyone. In a sense, we have still a lot of land that we can attract investors, as long as we also, well, this time when I have the chance to be in the council, I have to check now the in relation to the permits, business permits, because it's the bureaucracy there. It takes a long time to get permits, months or years, So we have to cut short those bureaucracy, and then be a business-friendly city, and then implement. Well, again, implement.
How about parks? How about building parks and
Yes.
like building spaces for your constituents to breathe, so to speak? Because everybody's just going to the mall, right? Which I have nothing against. It's just that shouldn't we have more public places?
Yeah. In fact, I'm very happy with what Mr. Luir has been doing now.
Okay.
If you've been to
The
Carmen,
safari. Zoo, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very nice, huh?
Yeah,
And I
although
think
I see a lot of animals in Cebu City. Sometimes I see them in the council as well. Pero lain lang pag-pronounce animal lang, dili
Anyway,
animal.
yeah, but no, I'm proud of it. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you, because a lot of people from Manila,
Yeah,
from
for
other
sure.
provinces,
Yeah,
calling me
it's
about it.
It's a world-class zoo,
It's
right?
a world-class zoo, and if it's complete already, it's like Singapore Safari.
Yeah, for sure.
And better, maybe. And in fact, there's hotels inside. So I'm proud to be a Cebuano. I'm proud to be.
So where are we in the global stage? You think we're in the top 10 cities of the world or top 20?
I'm not sure, but we're going there. I'm
Okay,
sure.
you're getting there.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
getting there.
And how do you think we be able to incorporate the happiness, the satisfaction of its people, just based on their well-being, their ability to live a normal life, to breathe fresh air, to
Simple. Embrace them.
okay.
For me, you embrace them.
Okay.
Let's not create divisiveness.
So how do you define progress, Ernest? Is it just about taller, bigger buildings?
Not only
Is
that.
it about just building more roads and all
Not all-
that stuff? What else do you think should we incorporate in our idea of progress?
By progress, there will be more jobs for our fellow Cebuanos.
Okay.
For one.
Doesn't that require more buildings?
Yeah, no, not necessarily maybe, but create more jobs.
Okay.
And then for one also to also in relation to PWJs, if I'm not mistaken, there's a national law that each established should be required to have a 2% employee 2% employed. You should employ PWDs. So I want to focus on that.
Okay.
And then that we can help the PW sector
Okay.
also.
Okay.
And then invite more investors for one. And then, let's be friendly also. The taxes, maybe we can, sit down with it. Just like more BPO centers here. For one.
Well, actually, what I'm trying to say, Ernest, is we seem to be modeling what a successful city is. We seem to be modeling what a successful city is based on what the world is expecting of their cities as well. What I'm trying to say is, shouldn't there be a better concept, a better idea, a better rules on what it is to build a city? You know what I mean? We're all going to that direction. We want to be like Singapore. We want to be like Hong Kong. We want to be like New York. But isn't that the wrong way of looking at things? Isn't it better if we look inside as well and see, like, we don't have to be New York. We're not New York. We're not Hong Kong. We're not Singapore. We're Cebu City. Aren't we supposed to have a better understanding of how to grow or even how not to grow and just build a sustainable life for our constituents here in Cebu?
Well, when I say something like Hong Kong, it's not because I want it to be Hong Kong.
Okay.
What I'm saying is Hong Kong is a small city, just like ours.
Okay.
But in relation to traffic,
they've solved that, right?
They've solved that.
Okay.
In terms of investors,
okay.
A lot of investors in Hong Kong.
Okay.
In terms of facilities, it's in Hong Kong and in Singapore.
Okay.
But slowly we're there.
Okay.
Here we have the safari now in Carmen. So my point is, I want to replicate in a sense
the good things about those cities.
Not necessarily because,
but not completely imitate them.
You do the Hong Kong side and the Kowloon side here also. Okay. Not that,
Okay.
So, where people really, parang doesn't go out Hong Kong but wants to work in Hong Kong, something like that.
Okay.
So, we create more jobs.
Okay. I'm glad that you said that, and I hope you'll have an opportunity to implement those ideas when you're sitting as a Cebu City councilor. Let's go to another subject matter about family and politics.
Okay.
One of the greatest reasons why politicians are corrupt is because they're doing it for family. We sort of convince ourselves that what we're doing is for family. We make sure that our children are provided, our children's children are provided. The children of the children of the children of our children are provided for. That's why we rationalize stealing millions, if not billions, of pesos, right? Because we want to make sure that our kids are taken care of, right? What are your thoughts on the conflict between family and politics?
Just like I said earlier, Jigs, when you join politics, you should not mindset yourself that it's your life.
Okay.
Just like you should be prepared.
Okay.
You should have a backup thing for your family. You don't. If your mindsetting is you go into politics because of family, you will not go anywhere.
Okay.
There are limitations. It will end somewhere there. It should be balanced in a sense that family, you should provide for your family not because you're into politics,
okay,
but from something else. So you should have business.
Mhm.
You know, you should have something income generating.
Isn't
Not only in politics, because one, as what I've said, what kind of income generating can you know in through the as a counselor?
Mhm.
You don't decide.
Mhm.
You don't get money from the government.
Mhm.
You just legislate,
Mhm.
ordinance, and implement things.
Mhm.
You know.
So you don't think family and politics is in conflict?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's about balancing your priorities also. That's one.
Mhm.
You know, um, you provide your family not because you entered politics. That's why I've said for me, for one, I established a business already.
Okay. Okay.
And this business is for my family.
Okay.
You know, if the calling for me to do public service by getting elected, that's another thing.
Okay. I hear this a lot. Doesn't politics, doesn't public service open up opportunities for you as well? I mean, not just to serve the people, but as well as other maybe perhaps entrepreneurial pursuits, for example.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. I will not say
Yeah.
no. Yeah, definitely yes.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But as long as it's not in conflict
Okay.
with your work,
Okay.
you go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. If it doesn't involve money from the taxpayers,
Okay.
you go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what, Ernest, we could talk all day, about you and the city of Cebu, but I'm sure you have a campaign sortie to go
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But as a final message, Ernest, because it's already late. To all those watching or listening to this podcast, what can you tell them in terms of making Cebu City even better than it already is? What is your message to them to make this city of ours, our beloved city of Cebu, even better?
Well, for one, to all our fellow Cebuanos, I encourage you to be one. We should be one. We disregard conflicts and misunderstandings, and especially politics in general. We should be focused on development. We should be focused in uplifting the life of our fellow Cebuanos, and I think that in relation to politics, our group also can help in a way. Um, at the end of the day, you decide from your heart, you know, which one is more what's this you see that can solve and can encourage or can uplift the life of our fellow Cebuanos. I think, no, not for being biased, but I think in our group, in our standard bearer, for our standard bearer, Mayor Edgar Labella, I think he has the capacity in managing our city, and then in doing by starting consultative management kind of
If they want to know more about Ernest Herrera, where should they go in terms of social media and website, or maybe even maybe like you have an office that they can
yeah.
visit and all that stuff? Maybe a
Well,
phone number that they can call. I don't know.
Well, I have a Facebook account.
Okay.
It's Ernest Herrera official, or Ernest Herrera supporters.
Okay.
You can check my FB page, and you can see my day-to-day activity and my direction in politics, in life especially, and my advocacy is into helping uplifting the life of our PWDs, our kids and children in general, our senior citizen, and the sector of women. So these four advocacies I'm focusing at, and would want to help, you know, the government also, or our fellow Cebuanos in uplifting.
Can they also get in touch with you? Maybe they have some ideas as well to how to improve the city through Facebook. Are you managing it? I mean, like, are you online as well?
Online, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm online now.
So if you want to get in touch with this guy, if you have some ideas on how to make this city even better, please get in touch with him at
Ernest Herrera Supporters.
Okay.
And then
And you'll be all over the place, right? You're running in the what
Northern.
side? The northern side of Cebu. So you're going to be all over the place. Make sure that you get in touch with him and shake his hand when he's out there campaigning. Thank you so much, Ernest.
Thank you, Jigs, for this opportunity, and hoping for the next time.
Yes, of course, for sure. We're going to talk again once you're already Councilor Ernest Herrera. Thank you so much.
Thank you.